Hey everyone, RogueGold here, welcome back to the Division 2. And today, after much request, I'm delivering you all some top build recommendations for the Division 2's latest season, Burden of Truth. Although this season didn't deliver quite the shockwave of balancing changes that last season brought, notably the fact that many more players are now jiving with the modifiers this time around Rogue Momentum, that's led me to getting endless questions basically boiling down to, yo, got builds? Yes I do. Since the season began, we have already done an in-depth look at one of the most powerful passive modifiers on offer this season, as well as a complete breakdown of this season's modifiers altogether. I'll have a link for that latter one down in the description in case you need it. But today, as I said, I've done some testing, crunched some numbers, and I'm bringing you 3 loadouts that I think work exceptionally within the parameters of this season and its modifiers. A couple of important things to say off the top as always. These builds I'm about to show off are great templates and demonstrations for some of the potential you may be able to tap into on your own characters, but as always, experimentation is encouraged, and I would love to hear about what kinds of modifications or improvements you might make to them to better fit your own playstyle down in the comments. Additionally, as usual, chapters will be labeled in the description for you to skip around to any of the 3 builds we're looking at. And finally, if you enjoyed the video, you know the drill, hit that subscribe button to catch more Division 2 coverage moving forward, and without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, now to begin, we're taking a look at a gear set that everybody has been saying is at the top of their list to try out, specifically with the aforementioned microwave coils mod that we covered in a prior video. That of course being Eclipse Protocol. Now, everybody is going to have their own way that they want to set this thing up. The one I'm showing off today is just what's worked best for me after trying a few different configurations out. The reason why Eclipse is so good this season, not only is spreading statuses and getting a pretty consistent stream of kills with them a great way to build and maintain momentum, but with that microwave coils mod specifically, Eclipse enables that distribution of fire to go to a whole other level. So this is the loadout that I've gone for. The first thing you'll likely notice is that I'm using Sharpshooter, a specialization not typically paired with skill builds. The usage of that is purely to unlock the Tactician drone, which for any who don't know applies a constant pulse to enemies within a very large area of effect. And that skill in particular has a wicked combination with the microwave coils mod, which I've mentioned a billion times already, I know. Basically, you use the drone to apply fire to everyone around you. Eclipse and the other gear items empower that burn and make it so that by eliminating those targets, that spreads and prolongs the burn for others. Win-win-win. So, Sharpshooter for your spec, 4 pieces of Eclipse Protocol, skill tier and status effects on each of them. I am using both the chest piece and backpack as their amp talents are quite good. I've then got the Vile Exotic Mask. This is just a great additional damage over time source, and specifically when an enemy isn't getting selected for burn from microwave, Vile ensures that they're still ticking when I apply foam or any other status. Lastly, I've got 1 piece of Electrique, as the brand bonus there is status effects. I've got status effects and skill haste rolled onto there. Weapon-wise, the choices are largely up to you. Many say they love running the Pyromaniac for perfectly ignited, and I agree that's quite strong. However, again, there are times when enemies won't be burning, and for those cases, I've opted to run the new goalie named FAL that was released this season. It has perfect pressure point, so I get 20% amplified damage to enemies with any status on them, and again that just ensures a solid damage output even when a target is only foamed. For my skills, we already covered the Tactician drone. Additionally, I then have the Riot Foam, as that has always worked beautifully with Eclipse, spreading that root ability, and it's just a great way to lock those targets up and beam them down with the momentum buffs for your weapon. Finally, for my modifiers, I have Overdrive for my active, and then Microwave Coils, Reaper Scan, and Rigged Battery for my passives. Microwave is a must, you absolutely must try it with Eclipse if you've not already. The other 2 are mostly up to you, though there aren't a ton of other relevant picks for this particular setup. Next up, we get to another gear set with amazing synergy to Rogue Momentum, this time honing in on the more weapon side of things, and that is Hunter's Fury. The set entirely focused on run and gun mechanics with self-sustaining properties. Who would have thought that it would do well here? Now, I can already foresee people saying that my specific loadout for it here is a bit unorthodox, and that's completely fine. As stated in the intro, these are templates, modify and change them to your heart's content. However, I have been more than pleased with the result of this, and I truly think that a lot of you will be surprised by its potency if you give it a chance. So, Here's the breakdown. As you'll notice, I've opted for the AR Hunter's Fury route, foregoing the intended SMG playstyle here, and specifically I'm going for Striga's Fury here, utilizing the Striga Exotic AR. This is a combo I actually highlighted in my Striga build coverage last season, and I really think that the Rogue Momentum modifier has made it shine that much more. So the construction here is pretty simple. Striga as your primary, secondary and pistol are totally up to you. For the gear, 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury. I'm using the Memento Exotic backpack, as that has always been a phenomenal run and gun and solo item, and that holds very true here. I then have a Cheska chest piece with Obliterate. Methodology behind that, Cheska makes up for the lack of crit bonuses from my gear and the Striga, and Obliterate gives me a source of ramp up damage that does not require a kill, like the Exotic Talent, Hunter's Fury, and Memento all do require. 5 red cores across the build, and of course Memento gives you 1 of each. I've got crit chance and damage rolled on every item and mod. The benchmark to aim for, in my opinion, is 50% crit chance. This is because you get a 10% crit chance bonus upon eliminating a blacklisted enemy, and given the frequency of that happening, you should be at 60% a good amount of the time. Pour all of the rest after that into crit damage. Another bit of an off-brand pick, I've got Firewall for my specialization. This is really mostly to unlock the Striker Shield, which not only gives me bonus damage for enemies in front of me, but with Rogue Momentum, whenever I'm at the highest unstoppable tier, your shield then becomes invincible. So this really just provides a huge outlet of bonus damage and survivability. Your other skill pick is entirely up to you. I went for a Revive Hive. Lastly, for modifiers, I have Overdrive for my active. Critical Momentum and Critical Recovery as passives work great given this is a crit and weapon damage focused build. And then lastly, Fortified Shield. You guessed it, fortifies my shield even further. So yeah, I enjoyed this one a lot, and I'd be interested to hear what you think about it.
Heavily armored hostile detected.
Okay, and then last but certainly not least, we get to Heartbreaker. This is in many ways sort of a combination of the last 2 loadouts we just looked at, a build that not only has a very powerful weapon damage output and can go toe-to-toe with some of the more spongy enemies in the game, but one that also taps into the utility and crowd control side of the modifiers to engulf enemies as you shoot them in the face. Who doesn't love that? Once again, my setup here is a bit more unconventional. There's many ways to construct Heartbreaker, do so as you see best fit. My philosophy is we're already beyond powerful in this game. Let's take advantage of that power to make things as fun as they can be. This is the breakdown. Again, 2 core tenets with this build, damage and enemy disruption. The first component to that is the St. Elmo's Engine Exotic AR. I tested a lot of primaries for this loadout. This one was the one that took me the longest to lock in which variation I liked the most. I ultimately landed on the Elmos for 2 reasons. High magazine size for an AR, and given how quickly we're spitting bullets out, the frequency of shock ammo is really great. For the gear, I've then decided to utilize the Ninja Bike Exotic Backpack to mix the 4-piece bonus of Heartbreaker with the 3-piece bonus of Striker. Let me explain. Heartbreaker is the main star of the show here, in the set that I encourage leaning into however you may set it up, by once again using the Microwave Coil's passive modifier. By simply pulsing enemies with the Heartbreaker headshot mechanic, that will quite often light the enemy in question on fire, disabling their ability to fire back, and opening up an opportune damage window. So that's the key. Beyond that, again, I tried many versions of this, and Heartbreaker simply isn't as universal as Striker. It can be a lot tougher to reliably build up those damage stacks depending on what you're using. The brilliance of then bringing in Ninja Bike, Striker, and Elmos, in my opinion, is that with the 15% rate of fire from Striker and the huge boosts from Rogue Momentum, your total fire rate is amazing. It lets you max out Heartbreaker stacks super fast, your mag size is high, and your reload is super snappy. That's all it really comes down to. This variation empowers faster shooting for more utilization of Heartbreaker's damage stacks and a higher uptime of CC with fire and shock. So again, 3 Heartbreaker with the chest piece, 2 Striker and the Ninja Bike backpack, 5 red cores on the build, then 1 of each from Ninja Bike, crit chance and damage rolled everywhere and on every mod. I'm using the Gunner specialization not only for its great weapon focused perks like armor and rate of fire on kill, but also to unlock the Banshee Pulse. This thing not only has incredible CC potential on its own by disorienting enemies, but it is yet again another source of fire application thanks to microwave coils. And when in the unstoppable tier on overcharge, it makes pulsed enemies take increased damage from you and your team, so it's a fantastic pick. Other skill is totally up to you. I went for a Revive Hive. For the modifiers, I have Overdrive as my active once again. It's really just too consistent and reliable not to use in my view. And for my passives, we have Microwave Coils. Again, this is essential, Reaper Scan, and Critical Recovery. That last one, even though our crit isn't amazing on this build, I figured that if I'm able to self-heal a bit while my bonus armor is up from Heartbreaker, then that certainly can hurt, but you could also very well slot in Critical Momentum. So yeah, I've been taking this thing into Heroic Countdown and just slaying out. I'd be super curious to know what you guys think about it.
Get on that helo. We've got hunters incoming.
Immediate medical assistance needed. System back online.
Shoot off a flare when you're ready for Torres to bring you home.
And that is going to do it, my friends, for my 3 recommended build templates and loadouts for you to try in the latest season of the Division 2 Burden of Truth. Or Year 6 Season 3, or TU23, whatever you choose to call it, you get the idea. Rogue Momentum has introduced a ton of new build ideas to the community, and so I wanted to share some of the ones that have stuck out for me. I very much hope you all enjoyed watching as always. I would love to get your feedback and thoughts on the builds. Do you love them, hate them, have an idea to change them? What are you finding yourself running most with this season's offerings in mind? As always, whatever you've got, I look forward to reading it below. That's all I've got for today though, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold. Out.